Hi everybody, I'm Rajat Jaic Mendus. So I'm currently working as a senior security researcher at Trellis, which was formerly McAfee Enterprise. So I've been with Trellis for the past 5 years now. I've completed my 5 years of journey with Trellis. So what brought me into IT was from an earlier age, I was very interested to work with computers. I fondly remember the memory where I used to wait for my dad to come home, as that was the only laptop available at my home. And once he's home, I would start, booting it up, playing some games, fiddling with the operating system. That's when I realized, okay, computers were a passion for me. And that passion actually grew further when I actually got my first PC when I was in 5th grade. That basically gave me a gateway into my own personal system where I can do anything. And that actually sparked my passion greater into the IT field. So for me, I never thought I would get into cybersecurity when I was pursuing my B.Tech and other certifications. It came to me when I landed my first job at McAfee, and that is where I was introduced into the world of cybersecurity with the help of some teammates and the opportunities that I got in McAfee. I was able to go into the field of cybersecurity, and at first shot itself, I was very interested in it. As I mentioned before, because of the challenges that you see every day, it's a very good field to be in. The journey of the RHCE certification actually taught me a lot of things. So the first thing was, if you have the passion and the determination to work towards any goals, you can easily achieve it irrespective of your age or other circumstances. And that was a very big opener for me at that young age, because RHCE was considered as a very difficult certification to crack. And if you were able to crack it at that age, that actually give you a lot of confidence going forward. Then in terms of success, it also gives you an idea that success is a continuous learning. The learning never stops. And for cracking the RHCE exam also, you had to continuously learn different concepts. That actually instilled me that concept of how you should always learn new things in order to go further and be more successful. So initially, I would say certifications played a very important role for me. Think of a college student who's just passing out of college. Your resume doesn't have much other than the projects that you did in college. So having a set of certifications in your resume greatly helped. It helped my resume to stand out. So that was a very good plus point for me. The second was the different projects I was able to do in college. So we had a startup where me and a couple of my friends together started, and we used to take in projects outside of college. That actually helped us to learn more. So there is this concept called learn on the job. So since we got different projects to deliver, we basically learned different technologies, be it cloud, AWS, or programming languages like Python, web application development. All of these skills were developed because we got different projects and we were able to do that. So that also greatly helped me in furthering my technical capabilities before I landed my first job. It's a long story. So initially, when I was young, my dad saw that I had a passion for computers. So he suggested me that I always used Windows, so why not try the Linux operating system? So that's when I got to know what Linux operating system is, and I found it a little more challenging to use than compared to Windows. So that piqued my interest actually. Then he also suggested, okay, just sit for a Linux training. And the training was the RHCE certification training from IPSR Solutions. I did it in Kotte. And the more you learn about the operating system, the more the more interesting it became. Then later down the line, I also heard about the certification exam, which was a physically proctored exam, live exam, where you had to solve real world problems on a live environment. And that also sounded challenging. And at the same time, at that time, there was no other. So I was just 11 years old at that point. and there was nobody at my age who has cracked that certification at that point. So that basically further put this as a big challenge for me. And as I mentioned before, I love challenges, so I thought I'll give it a try. So RHCE introduced me to the world of Linux, and if you are from the cybersecurity background, you'll understand how important Linux is. So RHCE greatly gave me that chance to understand Linux at an early age, which became beneficial later in my career. The second thing is the problem solving skills that you develop, because in order to pass the RHCE certification, there are many challenges that you have to solve. And that basically gives you a problem solving mindset. If they'll give you different problems, you'll have to solve it live. So that also greatly helps you in your career going forward, be it cybersecurity or any other field in IT. One other advantage I got was during the RHCA training, I basically got an opportunity to meet many professionals from the industry that actually gave me an idea about the various fields that are there in IT and how you can apply the certification and what is the real world use cases of a system of Linux administration and other aspects that I learned. So I had this wonderful opportunity to take and pass the RHCE certification at the age of 11. So after hearing this news, there were also a couple of young people, my age group, who came and did the RHCE certification from IPSR itself. Rohinji Nair was there, then Bobby Isaac was there. And I had the opportunity to also learn with them the subsequent certifications that were there. So one was the RHCE SS certification, which was the Red Hat Certified Security Specialist, and the RHCA, which was Red Hat Certified Architect. So Red Hat certifications are a little different compared to the certifications that you see because it's physically proctored and you have to solve problems in a live lab environment. That actually give you a lot of benefit. For me personally, it has actually given me the confidence that I need, because you're solving problems, you're solving challenging problems, and you're moving forward. So cracking the Red Hat certification basically gave me a confidence at that age that, okay, you're able to solve problems, in your life. And that confidence is very good when you want to start your career or when you are in your career. So certification, because it was given or implemented in a structured manner, you get that discipline and confidence that you require for your career as well. So Linux is one of the operating systems that is widely used by cybersecurity professionals, and understanding Linux will greatly help you in your career in cybersecurity. So I can give you with some certain examples. So the reason why Linux is very popular is because it's open source. The flexibility that Linux provides, because you can customize different things. So all of this factor in why Linux is important for cybersecurity. So for example, if I want to do defensive security where I want to protect certain machines, so most of the servers, the applications that you use to protect these machines like firewalls will be mostly on Linux. So understanding Linux will help you configure these systems so that you can protect them. Also configure these systems in the correct way so that these systems will be able to protect other systems that are behind it. For example, is the firewall here. Also, one other advantage that you get with the Linux is its command line power, and most of the tools that you use for, let's say, for pen testing or incident response, whatever that you're doing in cybersecurity, most of these tools will have a command line element to it, and some of them only has a command line element to it. So understanding Linux, understanding how to work with the command line also becomes helpful. Another aspect here is scripting and automation, because there are some tasks that you do repetitively every day, and it's always good if you know how to automate these tasks, and that is where scripting languages like Bash or Python comes into picture. Then from an offensive security perspective, many of the tools that you see in penetration testing or incident response, all of them, these specialized tools are available. Most of them might be Linux native, or they will be available for Linux where you can use them. And this is where popular Linux distributions like Kali Linux or the Parrot OS comes into picture. So you can basically use these Linux distributions to streamline your work because you have access to all the tools that you need to perform these activity. So this is where Linux comes into picture, and since most of these tools depend upon Linux, knowing Linux, understanding how to manage Linux becomes important. One advantage that we get with Linux is the command line power that you get. Most of the tools that you use will be command line tools or CLI tools, and this is where you can use scripting languages like Bash or Python to automate some of the repetitive tasks that you're doing. For example, if I want to scan a system for vulnerabilities using a tool like Nmap, I can basically write a Bash script to automate this task across different domains or different IP addresses. So there is a lot of flexibility that you get if you understand Linux thoroughly. So if you're starting into cybersecurity, like I said, Linux has a lot of importance in the field of cybersecurity. So if you know Linux, it will actually help you in your career in cybersecurity. For example, if you want to manage certain tools or run certain tools, which will be Linux native, this can actually help you there. Also, at a learning phase, you will want to try out different things hands-on. And since most of these tools are available on Linux, knowing Linux will help you there. Also, if you want to try out certain lab environments or certain challenges, Linux would be a better platform to do it compared to Windows. So if you are learning cybersecurity or in cybersecurity, Linux is a good operating system to be familiar with. So whenever I'm doing an application security or a network security assessment, I usually have to run certain tools, a certain number of tools together, one after the other. So in those cases, knowing scripting actually helps me to automate that entire process, where I just write a script with all of these different tools being executed in a particular order, and finally I'll have the result. So the next time I want to do this repetitive task, I just have to rerun my script that I've created, which will greatly reduce the time that I need to work on all of this. So beyond certifications, I would suggest that you work on some hands-on challenges or labs that are there. So there are these popular challenges like Capture the Flag, which gives you, which basically puts you in a mindset that is required for cybersecurity. So always try different hands-on labs and exercises like Capture the Flag CTFs or other challenges, which will help you to be into that mindset. Then talking about mindset, you need to have a problem-solving mindset, because the solutions that you usually want to reach to is not very straightforward. So you need to have that problem-solving mindset so that even if you reach a dead end, you should have the capability to try a different approach in order to solve that particular problem. Then on top of that, it will be good if you have strong foundations on topics like networking, operating systems, Linux, as well as Windows, which Windows becomes important when you're doing application security, etc. Then programming knowledge is also good. The reason is if you want to automate certain tasks that you're doing repetitively, that is where programming will greatly help you. So programming is also a good skill to have. If not programming, basic Bash scripting or Python scripting would also greatly help you. So I've been talking about technical skills, and on top of that, there are a couple of soft skills that you require, like you need to be able to communicate properly during a pen test engagement. When you're doing penetration testing, after you find out different vulnerabilities, it's important to communicate whatever you found to the clients. So you need to have proper communication skills, proper report writing skills, where you can consolidate all the findings that all the different vulnerabilities or findings that you find into a well-written report so that your clients can understand that. So I would say it's a mix of soft skills, technical skills, and a problem-solving mindset that will actually help you to go further in cybersecurity. So in today's world, most of us spend more time on online platforms. So this is where cybersecurity comes into picture. So in layman terms, cybersecurity is basically protecting your digital assets. So when I say digital asset, it could be your computer, it could be your home Wi-Fi router, it could be your Facebook account or Instagram account. So all protecting these digital assets, that is where cybersecurity comes into picture. And that is the first step of cybersecurity. And the steps that you take to protect these assets is what comes under the broad line of cybersecurity. And inside cybersecurity, we have different domains as well. The simplest things that we can do is protect our digital footprint. That for most of us, that would be accounts that we use. Like it could be your social media accounts, it could be your email accounts. So a simple thing that you can always do is make sure that for example, for our email account, the password is the layer of defense. So whoever knows your password can get in. So from a cybersecurity point of view, you need to make sure that your password is not easily guessable, is not shared with other people so that they can use that. So you need to have a strong password, and that is why you see that modern systems will actually recommend you to have a password which is more than 10 characters. Which will include special characters, numbers, a combination of different characters. Because if you use a simple password like password @123, it's very easy to crack that password. So that is where you need to have complex passwords. Because that's the first line of defense. And if you have a complex password, you can protect your account further. And in cybersecurity, there is this concept called defense in depth, where you don't just put one layer of defense, you put multiple layers of defense in front. So that is where your multi-factor authentication that you always hear comes into picture. So you log in with a password, then you get an OTP on your mobile, which acts as a second layer of defense. So implementing these concepts in everyday life will actually strengthen your security of whatever you are using, like your accounts, your digital assets, like your computer, etc. In 3 words, I would say first is passion, because I've always been passionate about computers and the IT industry, and now I'm passionate about cybersecurity. So I would put passion as one of the words. The next word would be adaptability, because in IT, one thing that you see is you need to be adaptable. You need to change based upon different scenarios or different challenges that you face. So adaptability has been critical in my career as well, because I joined as a developer, then I transitioned my career as a cybersecurity professional. So adaptability would also be one word I would say. And finally, resilience, because the field is challenging. You meet a lot of good people who would challenge you further. So, and like I've said, there is a cat and mouse game here between the attackers who want to exploit systems and the defenders. So you always need to be one step ahead of them. So it's always a challenging work. So that's why I would call it resilient as well. So with the advent of AI, so we have many challenges in all the industries throughout IT, and even in cybersecurity, you have the same thing. Because now, earlier, the simplest example I can give you is hackers would try to send you emails posing as, let's say, an Amazon delivery partner, trying to deliver something. They'll ask, or they can even imitate your bank. But earlier, the problem was they didn't have a very good language, and you can just look at the email to decide, okay, if the email is not written properly in a very good grammar, you could identify that, okay, this is not from the bank. But now with AI, or the simplest example I can give you is attackers can use ChatGPT to write a well-drafted email, which will look like it's coming from your bank. So with the evolution of AI, the threats that the cyber threats that happen in the industry is also going up, because the attackers or hackers, they're also leveraging AI to use in their cyber attacks. So you need one challenge that you would face is to actually identify these patterns, get ahead of them. So this is where even in as a cybersecurity professional, you will also want to understand how AI can be leveraged in your day-to-day task. how AI can help you do tasks, more efficiently and more faster. So you shouldn't stay away from, AI and artificial intelligence. You should actually embrace it so that you can adopt it in your daily life. You can find different solutions that can use AI. You can use the power of AI to better the defensive solutions that are already out there. So I personally want to do some projects where I can leverage AI to automate some tasks more intelligently. So currently, some of the challenges I face is whenever I have to do repetitive tasks. And with AI, I believe that you can intelligently, automate it, which will be much better than a simple automation script that I write. So that is one area that I want to look into, how I can leverage AI in my day-to-day task and how I can better my day-to-day task with AI. One thing about cybersecurity is if you have the passion to learn cybersecurity, you can actually find your niche area inside cybersecurity. The best example I can give you is we have this term called social engineering. So this is where you trick users or people into divulging information. For example, there was this very famous reel that came out where people, there was this guy who went around the street asking for people's password, email account password. And everybody outright denied that, okay, we will not share our email password. But then they tricked the question into a different aspects, asking, okay, can you tell me what your password is made up of? And there was this one person who said, okay, my password is made up of my dog's name and the year that I graduate. Then they talk about different things, and then the interviewer then came to a question like, okay, what is your dog's name? Then the person revealed the dog's name, and after that they asked, okay, which year did you graduate? And the person revealed that information as well. So rather than directly asking them for the password, they tricked the user into divulging the information regarding their password in a different way. So here in social engineering, it's not just that, okay, you need to understand computer science or cybersecurity, you also need to understand human psychology as well. So this is where different fields can come together in cybersecurity and deliver different things here. Another example I can give you is if you're interested in law, legal, and legality and ethics, then the field of incident response and forensic analysis will also be suiting for you. So like that, cybersecurity has different domains. So even if you have other skills that are outside IT or outside cybersecurity, you can bring it here and be a good fit. So for me, cybersecurity is a very dynamic field. So what I love about anything in my life is I love to take challenges. And since in the field of cybersecurity, since everything changes every day, it is a very challenging field. The best example I can give you is it's always a race between the attackers or the hackers on one side who wants to exploit different systems, and on the other side you have defenders and all the cybersecurity professionals trying to prevent that. And this is always a race where sometimes they go forward, then you will have to go beyond them so that you can protect the systems. And like I said, since it's this race always, it's every day it's a new thing. It could be a new vulnerability that comes out, or a new way to hack into a system, and you should always find a way to prevent all of this. That's why I love about cybersecurity, because it's very challenging and it's an ever dynamic field to be in. First is always have strong foundations. When I'm talking about foundations, I'm talking about strong networking foundation, strong operating system foundation, Linux foundation, Windows is also helpful there. Then have a little bit of programming and scripting expertise as well. Because if you have strong foundation, you can actually go into different aspects or different domains within cybersecurity. For example, imagine that you want to pursue cloud security. Then you need to have Linux fundamental knowledge. Then you need to understand cloud, like what is the cloud technology. For example, if you're doing an AWS security, you need to you need to have a full idea about what AWS is, what the AWS cloud offers. So that foundation is very much beneficial whenever we are looking at cybersecurity. So have strong foundations. Second, tip I would give is be hands-on. So whatever you're trying to learn, be hands-on, try to learn it, try to do it, try to play around with different systems. That way you basically get more hands-on experience and you will actually learn more when you're doing hands-on. The third tip that I would suggest is be curious, because even if you're seeing a system that is working or a technology, try to be curious there. Try to understand what is happening behind the scenes, because with a curious mindset, you will learn a lot more. So that is very much beneficial whenever you are in this particular domain. And finally, have that problem solving mindset and always try harder, because you will not reach a solution maybe at the first go. You might have to go at it multiple times in order to reach the solution. So always have the try harder mentality of not giving up, so that you can solve challenges going forward. So the first step that I would always tell anybody who wants to do cybersecurity to do is, take up a challenge, because it's always you will learn actually better when you have a challenge in front of you. So if you want to learn certain aspect in cybersecurity, take up a challenge associated to it and learn by solving that particular challenge, because that will be more fruitful and you will be able to push yourself further.